So what I started to say, and let me know when I'm duplicating my words here. But what I started to say is every company operates a little bit differently. But our company is a very global company. We have 140,000 employees internationally and here in the United States, and across North America as well. And so our philosophy as a company has positioned us really well, I think, to withstand different changes geopolitically. And so our motto has always been to be the most local of global companies. And so we do a lot of sourcing, designing, producing, manufacturing as many components as we can in our local regional geographies, right? So North America is one of our largest geographies of Schneider Electric, and we do a lot of our own manufacturing, sourcing of components here. That's really beneficial when we're evaluating the things like tariffs and things like that. So we have a whole team that is dedicated to help identify where our products come from, what's the source materials, things like that, especially when it comes to different kinds of project funding, right, that require certain manufactured geographies to be included. And so we have teams that help to be transparent and where our products and technology comes from, and be there for the long haul for these partners installing the technology as well.
I guess it went for both sides. My side was muted as well. But luckily we do have it recorded, and they did hear your response.
Okay, good.
For the ones that just barely got in, can you give them a little bit of a background on you, on yourself, how you got involved with Schneider, what accolades you have, and how long you've been working with them?
Yeah. So I've been at Schneider for coming up on 8 years in May. I joined Schneider Electric because I was really interested in locally produced, on-site, and appropriate technology. Energy underpins much of the modern society. Our healthcare, education, business runs on electrons. And so access to electrons is really important. And so Schneider Electric has been invested in the microgrid space for the better part of the last decade. And I joined the microgrid team, learned about microgrid technology, and we've continued to see this market evolve pretty rapidly, I would say, over the last 8 years since I've been here, and really a decade of work on this particular kind of topic. So I think energy is and can be very local. The resources that are available in different communities are specific to those geographies and just the land and the resources available. And so it's really cool to be able to leverage unique local technology and resources to really power our economies and our societies.
Awesome. I do have a little bit of stuff I do want to talk about, and that is going to be. Let me find the website that I wanted to talk about real quick. It is. Sorry, I got you off the screen. A little bit of background on Schneider Electric. You guys are the leader in digital transformation of energy management and automation. Today announced that is partnering with United Solar Initiative. What is the United Solar Initiative?
Good question. So I think you're drawing from, and you can hear me, right, Mitchell?
Yeah, everybody can hear you.
Okay, just checking. And so I think you're pulling from a press release that we announced maybe last October or so. And so our goal is to partner with organizations that are doing incredible work in local communities. And so last October, we announced this partnership with United Solar Initiative, which is a nonprofit project developer for communities that don't have access to reliable or clean electricity. And so United Solar Initiative helps to develop projects, supports end users like healthcare facilities, for instance, to help evaluate how can I power my operations in the most clean, cost-effective, and energy resilient way. And so Schneider Electric announced the partnership to support two healthcare clinics in Guatemala last October. So we're helping to source the technology, and United Solar Initiative is building these microgrids at healthcare facilities, specifically maternal birthing centers in Guatemala. That's just one example of where and how our technology impacts local communities.
The next question I have is with Larson and Turbo, they were here at the symposium as well. How has that collaboration been since you guys have, came together?
Can you say the first part of that again?
With Larson and Turbo, your guys' collaboration, how's that been since you guys have collaborated?
To be honest, Mitchell, I'm not that familiar with that collaboration. Where did you hear about that from Larson and Turbo?
That was actually on your guys' website. Like I said, I've been doing some research and looking at different
Sure.
things, and that was one thing that I had seen. That the
Okay. That's something I could follow up on because I don't want to speak to it because I'm not that familiar with it. But I could follow up with a colleague and get back to you and your listeners on that one.
Okay. How did the Society of Women Engineers annual conference go? If you know anything about that as well.
Yeah, sure. We participate in a lot of industry conferences and events, and particularly, women in engineering is a really important part of our strategy. We believe in a diverse workforce, and we get to showcase many of our women colleagues' talents, the work that they're doing, and this is the Women's Engineering Conference is kind of a platform to share some of that and learn from other companies that have great women engineers as well. So it's great collaboration that we get to work on every year. And we have many women members of the Society for Women Engineering. So it's a lot of fun.
What's what's it like when it comes to microgrid strategy and women? I just want to know because is it mainly a woman dominated industry?
No, I think it's an interesting question. I think that many of my colleagues, we come from diverse background and expertise, but I think in general, I work with a lot of engineers, and historically, there's been fewer women engineers than our male counterparts, and I think that we're seeing a growing interest, especially in the microgrid field, of women engineers who want to make an impact and find this work meaningful. And so it's exciting to see more, colleagues get into this space. But that's not to be exclusive at all. That's really, I think, the more folks we have working and focusing on new kinds of energy solutions, the better off we are and headed in the right direction.
I only ask that question because, in from what I've seen, women are more when it comes to energy, more saving. When it comes to like me, I'll leave a light on. I'll continue to turn lights on throughout the house, and
Mm,
I leave them on. But when it comes from a woman's perspective, they like to save a lot of energy. So that's why I
mm,
ask if it's a more dominant field when it comes to women, because that's what I would think it
interesting.
is.
Yeah.
That's how I would think.
Sure. No, that's an interesting perspective. I think I grew up with a dad that was very much on the economical side of saving on our energy bill. So I relate more to my growing up and hearing him say, "Hey, turn off the light or turn down the AC," or whatever it was.
Don't touch the
Um,
thermostat.
but but it's an interesting note.
So in Indian country, what do you guys see as far as a big boom for you guys? What makes you guys want to come into Indian country?
Yeah, I think that it's less about the particular, hey, we want to be here and help. We absolutely do. We want to partner with Native communities and Indian tribes. But I think that we're more kind of coming in from the perspective that, hey, we want to make sure everybody is aware of the technology that is now available and cost effective and the benefits that it can bring to communities. I think historically, if you think about some of our most underserved communities across the continental United States, you know, our native communities in particular have been left behind in a lot of cases. And we want to make sure that we're partnering with Native organizations and communities to bring visibility to new technology that can help solve some of the challenges that you might be facing. So our goal isn't, you know, to focus on any particular, you know, segment or group or anything like that, but to say, hey, we've done these projects. We want to make sure that folks know that the technology is now available, that the price point is effective, and that these are bringing valuable outcomes for long-term community resilience and community sustainability. I know those are some themes that resonate with many communities, and in particular, Native communities as well. And so that's kind of our goal in connecting through these tribal organizations and communities, is to just, you know, share what we've done, to identify areas where our technology might help make your engineering problems a little bit more smooth, and then partner with communities through our certification programs to help, you know, create a technical workforce to be able to service and maintain these systems for the long haul. And so that's a key part of our partnership strategy, is to develop training curriculums and certification programs so that we can work together to service these systems for, you know, the 10, 20, 30 years that they're going to be in production.
When it comes to, let's just say, a rural area,
Mhm.
Navajo country, how big of a how big of a part are you guys going to play, if at all, in bringing, you know, energy to that particular area? Because it's really, really rural out there, and, you know, running water is, you know, a difficult thing for them to get out there as well. What part are you guys going to play, like I said, if any, to get them, you know, better electricity out there, better power?
Yeah, that's a great example, and I know Navajo Nation's not alone in those challenges, but you know, the remote nature of that community in particular brings a unique set of factors to consider. And so our goal in partnering with a community like that would be to make sure that we, number one, understand what are the pain points, and the benefits that they are looking for technology solutions to bring to them, so that we don't just, you know, say, hey, here's a new shiny object, good luck, right? It's co-developing a strategy, and a long-term strategy, that meets the needs of where they are today, with the communities that they have, and then also prepares for future growth and as well, future changes as well. And so a lot of the ways that we help communities strategize is what we call future proofing, right? So you might have a you know, a town hall today, but you might have on your 10 or 15-year community plans that, hey, we're going to add a new healthcare system. And so how are we kind of partnering together to understand what you're going through today, what are the costs that you're paying for the energy to run those facilities,
Mhm.
and what are the long-term strategies going on in your community that we can help you grow into and adapt your energy infrastructure for. Um, and so that's kind of the model, is that no energy system is stagnant, and communities are going to continue to evolve and adapt as their needs change, as their communities change, and we want to be a long-term partner to help grow and expand or adapt according to how that community is planning to adapt.
When you guys talk about Indian country, has your company or any representative spoke to any, you know, current, as of today, current tribal councils, or anybody within, you know, tribal affiliations like that?
Yeah, we have. And the cool thing is, that we're learning, and I'll just give one instance. I'm not going to name any names of tribes at the moment because these projects are kind of under development, but in a particular tribal community, uh, we've been kind of talking with an engineer who is not an electrical engineer, who's saying, hey, I've been tasked in my community in helping to build more resilient infrastructure. They face power outages frequently. They have high costs of electricity. And so this individual who maybe isn't as familiar with energy and the different technology is being tasked with identifying energy solutions for his community. And so the way that we've been kind of collaborating is to work with the engineer that he and his team have hired and in his village have hired to help them walk through that. We have given them templates of places where they can start and not have to kind of recreate the wheel on, energy technology and solutions that are available, and work together to identify what are the highest priority buildings where they can add on-site energy and energy resilience to meet their outcomes. And so we love that these communities are already thinking about it. They're already investing in the design work, and we want to come in and support that design work to help make sure that the most robust and outcome-driven solution is put in place for them. So that's kind of maybe an interesting, way that we're partnering with these communities.
I mean, that's really nice to hear that a company is already taking the initiative, even if it's, small and minute, to be able to, show them the steps, not do it for them, but
Right.
let them build on their own to be able to be more independent. But then when you guys come in and actually lay the foundation and get it ready to go, they already have a basic knowledge of what's actually going to happen.
Yeah, no, exactly. And these are all community-driven initiatives, right? We want to be a support system. We want to share the lessons that we've learned from maybe doing systems the hard way, and maybe what not to do as much as what we can help you do, with our technology for today as well.
Do you know, or would you know, if any representative from Schneider Electric spoke with the Colorado River Indian Tribes Council when you guys were here back in December?
Yeah. So I had a colleague, Serena, who was a part of that Power Up event, and I don't want to speak for her, but I know she was there and had a really wonderful time engaging with the members of the tribe there, and had a lot of kind of follow-up opportunities. Um, so I would expect that she had some great connections there, but would have to connect with her to see kind of what the major highlights were from that event.
Yeah, I don't know if you got to see it online, but it was a really good event. I mean,
Yeah.
the information that was given and everything, like we talked at the beginning, but I don't think anybody got to hear it, was Gizmo, and what you guys are gonna, if any part you guys are gonna have to do anything like Gizmo. And you stated that solar panels on top of different buildings and on top of
Yep.
houses, on top of roofs and stuff like that. Um, that was all at the symposium, and it was really great.
Yeah.
If you haven't seen it, go check out YouTube. It's on YouTube for the Power
Okay.
Up Symposium.
I'll check it out. And kind of back to that point, because I know folks didn't get to hear it, right? There's different sized and types of energy solutions to solve different problems. And one of the analogies that my chief technology officer, he's been a longtime mentor of mine, he came up with this analogy that historically, when we were building microgrids or on-site energy infrastructure, it used to be like how we used to buy clothes 100 years ago. We would go to a tailor, they would take your measurements, they would cut cloth for the first time and sew it all together, and you'd have this, perfectly tailored suit. And over time, what happened is we became more efficient in the way that we were designing clothes, we were producing it, and we had more of these t-shirt sizes, small, medium, large, kind of applications. And that analogy kind of resonates with what we're doing in the microgrid technology space. So we're building these more standardized, off the shelf, so to speak, kind of energy systems that can meet small buildings needs, like a small library or something like that, a larger, medium-sized healthcare clinic or a large, casino, all of these kind of different building types where we can leverage a standard architecture, drive down costs, drive up the ability to be able to service these systems with similar architectures. And that's kind of our approach to bringing more microgrids and making them easier to deploy and maintain throughout their lifetime.
Now, with the microgrids, how big of a data center are you gonna need to be able to, let's say you come to Parker. It's a square mile wide, not too many people here. How big of a data center would you need to be able to, for the capacity of everything that you're gonna run here?
Um, so you mentioned data center, and I want to make sure I kind of distinguish what you want me to hit on here. So I'm not thinking of like a data center, like a big, box of servers or anything like that. I'm thinking about it more like, how are we serving the different buildings in a community? Let
Yeah,
me make sure I
yeah,
understand how you want me to address it.
you had it right there, how you were just explaining it.
Okay. Um, so communities are, tasked with all these different new data going on in their areas. You have, um, I'll give an example. You have healthcare facilities that have, virtual records that they're storing on site. And this is critical information that's stored on these server loads. And so we want to make sure that we're designing an energy system that makes sure that if there's a power outage or anything like that, the community is maintaining their data,
Hmm.
especially the amount of digital data available today, the bits and bytes and all of that stuff. But also, managing their critical infrastructure like healthcare devices, and the, ability for kids to go to school and learn, right? These are all critical services that a community is providing, and especially like a village council is providing to the community members.
Hmm.
And we want to make sure that we're designing the right solution for each of those applications, which might be a little bit unique. They might have different criticality of different kinds of the building loads. And so we want to meet that building, meet that village where they're at in as far as priority for making sure that community resilience is in place.
How far do you think you guys are gonna get with Indian country? Like how many, if off the top of your head, if you want to, if you can, how many tribal affiliations have you guys went and spoke to already, and how many are actually willing to be engaged with your company?
That's a really good question. So I think it comes down to kind of where we're at in the education curve. We're kind of establishing a committee inside of Schneider Electric, where we're really focused on this as a group. There's different types of technology that we have inside of our company that could be beneficial in a million different ways. Um, but our goal is to kind of bring, leaders from a couple of different businesses together to jointly just share knowledge. So we're just at the beginning of this kind of concerted effort to share, educate, be a part of the power up events and things like that. Um, and from there, I think that a lot of the technology that we have deployed and are deploying, in partnership in some cases with village councils, I think that a lot of that is replicable. It's more about getting these projects in the ground, showing the benefits and the outcomes that the communities are receiving because of it, and then serving as a reference case, right?
Hmm.
All good technology, has to be shared, and people have to see it to really understand how it can fit in their community. So that's kind of where we're focused, is finding referenceable projects where we can work together to promote. And then also, really, I think it's a powerful thing when you have the tribal leader or the, head of the healthcare facility, the head of the school, whoever it is, come out and say, hey, this is what we did, and it really worked well because of these reasons. It's a more powerful thing actually coming from your own community rather than, coming from me all the time.
How now do you guys delve more into solar energy, or what type of energy do you guys delve into the most, would you say?
We do a lot of projects that integrate solar power. I think in many cases it's a low cost solution, but the sun doesn't always shine, and so we often find that
Yep.
balancing that with other types of locally available resources is really powerful. Um, so, for instance, in the Igiagig tribe, village in Alaska, they have a really powerful river that runs through. And so hydrokinetic technology worked really well for them. A river turbine that's just spinning as the river goes through it. That was a locally available resource. So we again aren't generation. We don't have a preference in the type of generation. Our job is to help make sure that all of the systems are working as efficiently and economically as possible.
I'm glad you touched on that base with the water, because our particular tribe, we're right along the Colorado River, and
Hmm.
if I'm not mistaken, now don't quote me on this, but I think I'm correct, is our dam isn't really producing that much energy. Now, I'm glad you said that you guys helped another tribe when it came with the water and with the water turbine. Is that something that you guys can offer towards other tribes, let's say like ours, where our dam isn't producing that much energy and we're ultimately our tribal members, especially our elders, are paying more to get, the energy that they need when, let's just say 2 years ago they were only paying like 70, $80. Now it's up to like almost $200. Is the water turbine something that could be beneficial and you guys could actually bring down here and help engineer for this particular tribe?
Yeah, absolutely. And that's really kind of back to the value of partnerships. We have partners that have all sorts of different technology solutions, including the RivGen as one. And some of the factors make certain geographies more beneficial for that technology than others. I'm sitting here in Green Bay, Wisconsin, and right now it is snowing pretty hard.
Oh no.
And you think about if I had solar panels on my roof today, maybe I wouldn't be getting much production. However, seasonality is also really important, right? And so there's going to be parts of the year where that solar is producing, and it still makes sense for me to invest in that technology,
Hmm.
given where I'm at, given the sunshine and all that, even if there's times, seasonally where the river might run drier or the sun doesn't isn't as high in the sky for me up here north. So all of those factors really need to be considered holistically as we're designing solutions. And that's something that we and our partners do very, very well, is make sure that we're right sizing the solution based on what's available and the different factors of how it's going to be used as well. And maintaining, right? That's a key part is these energy systems require a technical resource in the community to help troubleshoot and maintain and know how to service these for long-term operation. And so that becomes a really important part of the development cycle of any project is making sure that all of those pieces are in place for longevity of these systems.
Now, do you guys offer the let's just say preventative maintenance to the particular area that you're going to be giving the product to? Do you offer preventative maintenance training to them?
We do what we call like an on-site training for the users of the systems. But to take that one step further, we've developed a certification program where technical resources, a local electrician, a local engineering firm, or whatever it might be, can come and go through the technical certification to be able to service and maintain that themselves. It's a program we call our Eco Expert program. And so we really train folks as if they are a Schneider technician and kind of have that talent and competency in that community. So the more local the resources that can help troubleshoot or maintain these systems, the better off these systems are going to operate and the longer they're going to operate too. So it's a really important part of our strategy as well.
I like how you answered the second part of my question that I was going to ask. You're
Oh,
way ahead of me,
I jumped
but
the gun.
it's okay. It's okay. When it comes to the your certification, would you guys, because I ask these questions from the stuff that I hear throughout my community, and we like to keep our community strong, especially when it comes to tribal members, is would you offer this training specifically towards the tribal members for them to, offer more jobs to tribal members?
Absolutely. It's a key workforce enabler, to be able to go through the certification and trained. There are certain competencies that are prerequisites, I would say. And we certify companies and partners as opposed to individuals, right? Individuals are accredited, but they are associated with a certified, company or partner of ours. So that could be a tribe's kind of local electrician, or that could be the local solar company. There's a lot of, tribal owned solar companies, right? And they have a lot of the technical competency to manage these systems. Let's kind of take them one step further through our eco expert certification and gain the competency and upskill on the new parts of the technology, so that competency lives inside the community.
So if the let's just say hypothetically, if the tribe was to create a department for solar, or let's say department for a water turbine for preventative maintenance, would you
Yep.
guys be able to be willing to train them?
Yeah, absolutely. That's what we've created this curriculum for, is exactly those kind of partners and
Awesome.
individuals.
Um, Energy. Now, I'm going to continue to talk about energy because that's a big thing. When it comes to energy, is AI going to be involved in it at any particular point in time?
AI's, involved in many ways already, right? We're building across, all sorts of geographies. We're building these large data centers that are running AI algorithms, for instance, right? That's one way that AI is impacting us already.
Hmm.
Um, a way that we actually use AI to kind of benefit our microgrid is that we have a program that we run on some of our microgrids, and it's a cloud-based program, and it takes all of these high quantities of data as inputs, right? It takes your
Hmm.
cost of electricity. It takes, all the different consumption points of like what all is that building consuming at any given point. Maybe it's lighting or your HVAC or some sort of other, building load going on.
Hmm.
And it takes all that data and it crunches the numbers, and it decides every 15 minutes, how should you best utilize your on-site energy production, right? There might be instances where the AI algorithm will say, hey, we need to save up energy for the high cost of energy time period later in the day. And so we need to store up all the extra solar, charge up our battery, and then use that later because that's going to benefit us financially, as far as how our system is going to operate. And so that's one way that AI is really helping us, operate our systems more efficiently and economically for communities. So that's a benefit of AI. There's always different pros and cons that come with technology, but that's a major benefit for autonomizing these energy systems for the most efficient use of our energy.
I only ask because there are some, older tribal members that don't believe in AI. But as your guys' company, would you guys, not would you, but you guys would have to be able to come up with a way to let them know that AI isn't bad. Because AI, AI is good. AI is good. I truly believe in AI, but there are also, some downsides to it, which you did kind of explain a little bit. What
Yeah.
what are the I guess the bad factors of AI when it comes to, microgrid and energy?
Yeah, well, I think there's a lot of potential risks that we spend a lot of time mitigating as a company. For instance, the algorithms that we're running have to be highly secure algorithms. They have to be, data privacy is really, really important to us. And so we go through extensive penetration testing and cybersecurity testing on all of our products. to make sure that the resources that we're using, whether that's AI, whether that's remote staff supporting a project or a customer, all these precautions need to be understood and precautions taken place to make sure that the outcomes that a user of our energy system, that they're being well protected, taken care of. And so it's not just AI, right? It's a number of factors that really need to be well understood and designed for, right? And shared with. So if somebody's hesitant about AI, for instance, I think kind of walking them through very transparently how we use it, where it's used, what are the benefits, but also what are the things that we've done to put in place mitigation of certain risks. I think that goes a long way, and that's something that I think we'll continue to see is just some hesitancy, and we want to partner with those individuals, make sure that they fully understand what they're getting and how it's going to be used as well.
What's the overall direction of Schneider Electric? Like, what's your guys' future when it comes to your company within Indian country? What do you see within, let's just say, a time frame of the next 2 years?
Yep. Yeah. So look, I wouldn't be here and really excited to talk to your audience if we weren't committed and invested in supporting tribal communities. I mentioned a little bit about the committee we're establishing as a kind of a working group across many different businesses in Schneider Electric to make sure that we're bringing visibility into the outcomes that we can provide to tribal communities. We are showing up. We are doing cultural sensitivity trainings for our employees to be those that would work with tribal communities, and we think that investment goes a long way in building trust, but it also goes a long way in just showing up and educating as well. And so we want to continue to invest in some of these power up events. We want to be a part of that. We want to be a part of conferences, and would really encourage listeners, maybe any of your colleagues or community members, if they are interested in microgrids or they are already building microgrids, but maybe want to look for the most efficient way to do that, to reach out. We can and want to help partner with tribal nations to advance their goals and their initiatives towards community resilience and all the other benefits that energy can provide to your communities.
I really like that. I really like your guys' your future optimism for the tribal community. The I think the biggest thing I would have to say obstacle is going to be engaging from the community,
Yep.
because community involvement when it comes to outside entities coming down to a reservation, a lot of people start to raise eyebrows. They say, I'm just speaking from what I've heard, I'll just let you know,
Totally.
is what you hear is, oh, what did tribal council do now? They got these people coming in. Oh, what did we sell now? Oh, why are they here? Why do we need to build, why do we need to get your guys' product? What are you going to offer me? These are just some of the things that you're going to hear when you guys start to go into newer tribal reservations. How do you guys plan on you know answering those questions and being more optimistic for the individual tribal member? Because you're gonna have some pushback from a lot of people, and pushback, it's normal within this type of community.
Yeah, it change different types of ways of delivering energy. Like that's all part of a change process. And there's many stakeholders, just like with anything that's community led, there's many stakeholders. And so engaging with the breadth of stakeholders, with the breadth of community members is important. And community led initiatives are the most strong initiatives, right? So our goal would be to really be invited by a community. Maybe they've seen some work that we've done or have heard from another community how how we've been to work with, and I think that trust and validation goes a long way. And so that's kind of the way that we're approaching this, is again to just kind of educate about the resources that are out there available for those individuals and community leaders that are interested or are already doing this kind of work, but maybe need help or want some guidance or a support system. We're here and happy to plug into the community-led work that's already underway.
I didn't mean to come off, a little mean, but that's just how people talk,
No,
especially around here. I mean, it's like give them a chance. I'm in my mind, because I've traveled outside the reservation. I've gone to different areas. I've spoke to a lot of different people in my life, and my thing is you got to give people a chance. You can't just automatically jump out and be like, we don't want this, we don't want you here. Like, no, listen to them. They have something to offer to you guys. Even though our past has been, we've allowed people come in and we've been ran over a few times, our tribe, but being being more open and being able to see changes. Change is good. Change sometimes isn't good, but in this situation, when it comes to solar energy, when it comes to energy, microgrids, data centers, everything, it's what we need, especially in more the rural areas. So I mean, if Schneider Electric can come in and start, let's just say within 5 years, people's electricity bill goes down again, everybody's gonna start to see it as a plus.
that's right. Yep. We have to be able to stand behind the performance of the systems, the serviceability of the systems. And again, it comes back to, communities that are invested in their own community members and want them to be a part of our curriculum and technical competencies and things like that. That goes a long way, and just being able to um, really understand and appreciate the outcomes that your community is benefiting from with these energy systems. So yeah, we're always about partnership. Partnerships go two ways. And we, really believe that the strength of community resilience comes from community-led initiatives. We're here to support. We're a technology provider, and this technology is exciting, with many benefits, and it's here. It's available. So yeah, that's what we wanted to kind of leverage, your connection, Mitchell, your opportunity to present to your listeners, and we really just appreciate the opportunity to share more. We have more resources available as well if those are of interest to your community.
Oh, they are. I know a lot of people are really, when we started the symposium, when I first announced it and I was going to be in collaboration with Seven Skyline and all the many companies, including yours, that were coming down, everybody was excited. Everybody was thrilled to know that, a podcast like this is starting to become big in the world. And I'm like, it's these people. It's the companies that allow me the opportunity to interview them, to get the questions out to you guys. That way you guys can further look into their company for any information. If you guys want to, buy into the company, I'm just providing the information out. So whatever information you give out on the podcast, like today, there's people that are watching and they've been engaging this entire time with it and they love it. So I want to say thank you for coming on to the podcast and offering your expertise, your knowledge to the, let's just say, to the everyday travel member, because the everyday travel member doesn't really understand, microgrids, data banks, solar energy, all that good stuff. So for you to come on here and give that information to the travel member, it's really amazing. It's a monumental event for me because it's huge. Believe it or not, it's a huge day for me. It's a huge day for all my listeners because I've been talking about this upcoming podcast for about a month now. So everybody's been waiting, and you've done a great job today, giving out all the information that you can.
Well, thank you, Mitchell. Really, it's my honor to be here. It's my honor to share what we're doing. We're really excited about the work that we're doing, and I'm really excited about my company, my organization's commitment to really spearhead a focused effort around this, and explaining what we have to offer, what we've done in the past, and how we can work together. So just appreciate the time and look forward to hearing any further questions. I think you're gonna share the link to this podcast for those who weren't able to attend live. And perhaps there's some engagement we can do to follow up, and I'll look forward to that.
Oh yeah, I look forward to that as well, and I look forward to getting more. What I was looking for online and I couldn't find were testimonials from other tribes, and I think that's one thing that I would like to have. Just some testimonials, some information. That way, the listeners can see that you guys are fully
Hmm.
engaged with other tribal members or other tribes, and they can see it's not just a sham. I know it's not a sham because I've worked with you guys. I've gone to the symposiums and I've seen all the information you guys are giving out. So I fully believe in you guys. I think there still are some people that are like they want to see some testimonials.
I will share a case study as a follow-up here, from a project we did a couple of years ago, and kind of how they've been tracking through how it's been operating, and the outcomes. Again, I think it's really a positive story because it comes from the community that led this initiative. And I think that that could go a long way. So I'll share that with you, Mitchell, if you will be able to disperse that to your community. And just again, thank you for the time and opportunity to present.